What up? You know what time it is? Whew. It was a tough one today. Like a wise man once told me, you're not gonna feel strong in PR every day. So take what you can get and just enjoy the fact that you can do it in the first place. But with that said, y'all already know I got Cosmo hanging out with your boy, and I appreciate you pressing play and hanging out with me for this last mile or two. But today is going to be less of a story, and I'm finally going to give you a little insight about something I've been talking about sharing with you for a few weeks now, which is what I call the blueprint. And what I call the blueprint is the very fundamental things that have been, and little nuggets of wisdom and experience that was given to me from people that I highly respect and hold near and dear to my heart, because they took the time to take me, of all people, under their wing and kind of get me started on this journey that I'm on. So now I'm going to take what they told me over the years, and start giving it to you now. And I understand I am so fortunate and so lucky to be able to find something, trip over something that I just completely latched onto, and it's been nothing but good for me ever since the beginning. Like, don't get it twisted though. I've had my fair share of injury and tough times and disappointment. Believe me, it hasn't all been rainbows and fluffy puppy dogs and shit. But overall, it's been fantastic. And I'm so glad I've got something that I can put my energy into instead of using all the time and wasting my time running out and running around the street doing all that male posture and trying to be cool and shit. But anyway, off to the blueprint. So there's just a couple of things I'm just going to share with you. And of course, this is within the context of running, but the same kind of rules can be applied to swimming, to cycling, to lifting, pretty much just about anything. And following this kind of stuff has been, it's allowed me to bounce back from injury and times of when I've taken extended breaks and got out of shape and all that. So first off, my mentor told me, he said, if you want to get started, train 5Ks. Well, how the hell do you do that, I've already said this before in a previous video, but that's the first thing he said to me. So I did a little bit of research, and then I also asked him, I'm like, hey man, I ain't never ran no 5K before. How put together, you know what I'm saying? So he was like, listen, this is what you do, man. The distance is 3 miles. So what you do, you run, walk until you cover that distance. So what I did was I broke it down into 2 minutes on, 1 minute off. And you'll probably hear so many people agree with this. So many people disagree with this, but I'm telling you, man, this is what worked for me. So 2 minutes on, 1 minute off, and your 2 minutes on, it doesn't have to be, you know, breakneck 100% all out speed. You know, it's got to be something that you can manage for 2 minutes. Don't cheat yourself, don't cut it short, or nothing. With 2 minutes on, that 1 minute off, you can walk, and you can walk as slow as you want. Whatever you got to do to recover for that next 2 minute effort, right? And you keep repeating that until you cover the 3 mile distance. It sounds like a lot, and it is, but you got to start somewhere. But if you were in a situation like me, out the gate, I wasn't even able to cover 3 miles. So I started with 1, right? 1 mile was the target. So I walked me a 1 mile little loop around the block and some change. And then later on, that's when I started that effort. I'm like, okay, here we go. 2 minutes on, 1 minute off. Now mind you, at this time I didn't have running shoes, I didn't have no running shorts, I didn't have no gear whatsoever. But I worked with what I had at the time. And I kept doing that until I reached 1 mile. And I said, okay, that's 1 mile. And me being me, I said, I'm gonna walk 1 more. So I did 2 minutes on, 1 minute off for 1 mile. And then I walked 1 more mile. And then I brought it home. And I repeated that same process. It wasn't every day, but it was more than just a couple times a week, I guarantee you that, because there was something I wanted. But I repeated that multiple times a week until 2 minutes on, 1 minute off for 1 mile got easy. Well, I wouldn't say easy, but I wasn't dying, you know. And so I was like, okay, I can get through this 1 mile with this 2 minute on, 1 minute off. Let me see if I can do 2. I said, okay, I got me a 1 mile little loop planned. I'm gonna go around this motherfucker twice. 2 minutes on, 1 minute off. I repeated that multiple times for what seemed like an eternity until that got easy. And then one day I was like, okay, test day, baby. I was like, forget this 2 minute on, 1 minute off. I'm just gonna try to run this whole 3. See what happens, see how close I can get before I blow up. I didn't make the 3, but I got farther than I thought I did. And once I realized, okay, I'm getting closer, I tacked on that 3rd mile. 2 minutes on, 1 minute off. Until I could cover that whole 3 miles with 2 minutes on, 1 minute off. And then I started knocking off the 1 minute break for that first mile. So at this point, I was able to cover the 3 mile distance, but then I was taking the 1 minute breaks out of the first mile. So I was doing all 3 miles, but the first mile, it was at a pretty easy effort, you know. I wasn't killing myself. I was still working though. But then mile 2 and 3, you best believe, 2 minutes on, 1 minute off. And next thing I know, man, but I started doing that in March. By August, man, I was able to run the whole 3 miles, no stopping. It wasn't fast, it wasn't pretty, but I was able to do it. And then I just kind of built off of that, you know. And so that same rule applies. I still apply that kind of same rule to get out to further distances but the interval, the effort distance and time changes. So now I'm at like an hour effort, and then I'll take like 10 or 15 minutes off of the effort and then get back on it for another hour. That sounds like a lot, and it is. Just remember, I'm 10 years further down the path than where I started. And my goal, where I want to go, requires at least that kind of effort. So there it is. That's the first little nugget that was given to me from a wise old man. Well, he's not old. We the same age, but he's wise beyond his years. I can't say enough good things about that man. I love him to death. I ain't gonna say his name, not even his first name, because I don't know if he wants that kind of attention or not. But yo, if you're watching this, I love you, bro. So with that, that's the end of my long one. And you can do it. You can. Until next time, deuces.